Well, I've been talking about it all off season. The Panthers are going to need a hot start weeks 1 through 3. The middle of the schedule is treacherous. Treacherous. And the Panthers, if you look at 2024 and 2025, were outscored 126-55 in weeks 1 and 2 in the regular season. They're going to need to shift the narrative. I think this season, more than ever, if you want to avoid apple picking and orchards in October, you're going to need the Panthers to make Sundays meaningful. And they're going to do that by winning early in the season, setting themselves up for, which I believe, it's like one of those missions where they send the guy off to go fight a whole army. That is the middle of the schedule for the Panthers in 2026. I honestly don't even think it's reasonable for them to come out of these games after week 3. They have the Lions on Sunday night, the Eagles, the Bucks, the Packers, and Broncos. I just listed 5. And they go 1-4, and they could still play really well during that stretch. The Broncos, I think, the best roster in football, hands down. Bo Nix was good last year, would have gone to the Super Bowl if he didn't hurt his ankle, and then they sign and trade for Jalen Waddle. The Packers, I honestly think they're a little bit of a wild card. Now, they're going to get Micah Parsons back, and Xavier McKinney is one of the best safeties in football. Offense struggled last year at times. LaFleur kind of had some leadership issues there. Canales outcoached him, remember, last season. So even though you're traveling to Lambeau, that game doesn't scare me as much as, well, maybe the game against the Lions. I think that's going to be a tough one. The Lions, easy schedule. They're going to get healthier on the offense. Jahmyr Gibbs just got paid. Goff, his second season with that new offensive coordinator they have. And then you have the Eagles and Bucks on top of that. So 5 games I list, and really, you go 1-4 during that stretch, 2-3. I honestly think you can play phenomenal and be in that position. So it is immensely important. I can't state it enough that you start this season strong. And, these reports going around today, or actually yesterday, Canales making updates on Xavier Legette and Chuba Hubbard, that those two guys are dealing with some injuries. Xavier Legette is walking around in a boot in the facilities in a boot. Hubbard dealing with a soft tissue hamstring injury. That's a big injury right there. That's big. Hubbard dealt with the soft tissue calf injury last season. Kept him out of games. Kept him out to about mid-season? Coker had that hamstring issue last season. He missed early in 2025. You need these guys ready to go. You need to be firing on all cylinders come week 1. I don't think the Bears game's a must-win. It's week 1. That's what we do in the show. Week 1 is a must-win on the tone, okay? Week 1s through 17, they're all must-wins. Every game's a must-win. This is must-win talk, podcast, radio, talk show. This is must-win podcasting, okay? Every single game is a freaking must-win. This is the tone. But in all seriousness, you need to start 2-1. I'm telling you, these games are tough. Lions, Eagles, Bucks, Packers, Broncos. That's not a joke. And then you get the Saints. And I honestly think the Saints could be good this year, but I think you luck out because they lost Alontae Taylor. He was a great corner, and their defense kind of sucks. But then you have the Ravens after that. And then your schedule gets a little bit easier. You get the Bucks, the Vikings, the Saints again. Then you have the Bengals, Steelers. Bengals are a tough one. The Seahawks are a late, tough game. Late, week 17, that is, in 2026. It is a tough route after week 3. Got to start strong. And some of these injuries you got going on right now are a little alarming. I know Canales expects Hubbard and Legette to be ready for week 1. But a foot injury for a receiver and a hamstring for a running back? That's sort of like when you see a tick on your leg and you don't know if it bit you yet. You're like, that thing's pretty dangerous sitting down there. I don't know what it is. It could just be an ant. It could just be a morsel of chocolate. Who knows? But there's something there. And if it bites me, I mean, we could be talking about something pretty serious right now. We could be talking about something pretty serious if Hubbard's hamstring turns into missed games or Legette's foot ends up keeping him out. And Xavier Legette, oh my gosh. Final showdown for him potentially. He's going to have a role with Chris Brazzell out. And I mean, this is the time of year for wide receiver 3s, 4s, and 5s. I mean, they're pretty much like TikTok celebrities. They're like Olivia Rodrigo's on the internet. If you're a wide receiver 5 in late August, you're the most famous person on earth. You go into a middle school and they're talking about the wide receiver 5. It really is unbelievable. This time in the offseason, the wide receiver 5 is making headlines. Come September, it's going to be mass amnesia. No one's going to remember it. And Xavier Legette is in a position where he's sitting in the receiving core. Really, aside from Coker and T-Mac, I think it's a crapshoot, the receiving room for the Panthers. You have Horn, who I think is a nice gadget guy, but is he really a receiver? Is he really going to go out there and move the chains and contribute over the top, have a comprehensive route tree, and help you doing multiple things? Or is he going to take an end around 20 yards, one play, and then maybe you throw him a screen and that's his role? I think he's closer to that. Jasim Reed, John Mechie, Bryson Tremaine. Tremaine's a great blocker, and he'll be on the field because of that. He also has an in with Brad Idzik. That's his guy. But a lot of these other guys, I'm talking week 1 production, who can go out there and get you 80 yards, whose name is not T-Mac. You know, Coker has to be the one, but you're also going to need to make up for some ground too, because I don't think he is that guy every week. I don't think he is T. Higgins per se, or a truly elite receiver or a superstar, a guy even bordering on that. He is not at that level. I hope he can grow into it. The surrounding cast is going to need to step up for the Panthers. And I loved Darren Waller. I thought Darren Waller played pretty well last year. I mean, here are his numbers. I'll read them to you because just 3 starts for D-Wall in 2025 in Miami. Just 3 starts, 24 catches, 283 yards, and 6 touchdowns. 6 touchdowns, pretty dang good. 6 touchdowns is pretty dang good. I know he's 34 years old, but he looked pretty fast out there. I saw some clips. He looks pretty fast out there. He at one point was one of the best tight ends in football. He looks like he's in really good shape. I know he's been training in Vegas this whole thing. There's this whole story of him and his training protocols, and really never left the football training. He's been doing the training to set himself up for on-field success. Why not him? Well, now I'm reading Joe Person, The Athletic, on Tuesday, and I actually missed this part in Canales' press conference, but I guess this was the quote that he obtained. Hard to get an evaluation, Canales said, talking about Waller. We spent the first part of last week just running him and pushing him and making sure he was practice ready. We don't want to rush things. So I don't get why they're soft launching this guy. I don't get why they're soft launching Darren Waller. Like, why can't we just get him on the field? And maybe the answer is, well, you have some sort of under the table agreement with him. It's like, he's 34. He doesn't need a preseason game. He doesn't need preseason football. He's done enough. He's done more than a decade of it. You don't sit the tenured accountant with the interns. I guess maybe that could be part of it. But again, just a few little things sprinkling in as we approach week 1. And you're always going to have injuries. I understand that. You're always going to have a veteran you don't really know how good they are. What's their ceiling? A couple of soft tissue injuries. I mean, you take a few months off of football and then you go back in during the summer when it's hot, you're dehydrated. The soft tissue injuries they're just going to happen. Let's not pretend these things aren't part of reality. I'm just telling you, for an offense that is rather T-Mac dependent, and in a season when you're going to need to win a lot of games early, none of this, we're going to wait for him to get on the field. None of this, we can blow the first 2 games. We can hand the football literally to Cardinals defenders in week 2 in 2025, or put up a 47-10 a catastrophe against the Saints in 2024. Or remember all the language they used to throw down our throats? It was like they're growing into themselves. They're growing into their shoes. They used to hit us with quotes like that a lot in 2024, even in 2025. We're just figuring ourselves out. Canales goes on the podium for the first 8 weeks of the season. We're just figuring ourselves. There's no figuring it out. There's no figuring it out when weeks 4 onward are the Lions, the Eagles, the Bucks, the Packers, and the Broncos. You need to have it figured out, because if you enter those waters 0-3, 1-2, and you're looking to make some money back on the blackjack table, I have bad news for you. You're going to be playing with Monopoly money. It's not going to be fun. 2-1 start minimum. And I'm looking forward to that Lions game. I know some people will disagree with my Lions take. I really do think they're going to be pretty good. I do. And Sunday Night Football at the Bank. I mean, come on. That's going to be a lot of fun. The Panthers need to win that game. I am rooting for the Panthers harder than ever in that game. It's just the Lions. The Lions, man. Don't sleep on Dan Campbell. Don't sleep on them. I know they've had some injuries on that defense, and some, other things going on with players being released. Don't sleep on them. Don't. And certainly don't sleep on the Browns and the Falcons. Win those games. Beat those dirty birds. Flush those Browns down the toilet. This is The Tell. Thank you so much for tuning in. More coming for you on Friday.